Hi Spanish learners, and welcome to another episode of Spanish Academy TV, where we help you take your Spanish to the next level. Today we're talking about an extremely useful topic, preterite versus imperfect, your beginner's guide to the past tense in Spanish. Learning these two tenses is a life changer and will free you from the limitations of present tense. Talk about yesterday's delicious lunch or the last book you read. Share your infancy details and the love story of your grandparents. But before we embark on our past tense journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and click that notification bell. It's very easy. Like, subscribe, bell button. Just 3 little steps to know when we publish our new videos and to not miss the best Spanish learning content on the web. Well, without further ado, let's jump into today's topic. Preterite versus imperfect. What you'll most like about these two Spanish tenses is that they work almost exactly the same as two English tenses, past simple versus past continuous. You'll discover more about it in a moment, but keep this comparison in mind while watching this video. The preterite tense talks about actions that happened in a specific moment in the past, while imperfect tense focuses more on actions and events without a definite end. Let me show you first how to conjugate Spanish regular verbs in both of them, or Spanish regular verbs conjugation in the preterite tense. The best thing about the preterite tense is that instead of 3 conjugations, you only need to remember 2. Yes, you heard it well. The ER verbs and IR verbs conjugate the same way. Isn't that great? AR, conjugation in the preterite tense. Let's do the AR verbs first, with the verb amar, or to love. Yo amé. Tú amaste. Él, ella, usted amó. Nosotros amamos. Ustedes amaron. Ellos, ellas amaron. So these are the endings. Aste. O. Amos. Aron. Aron. Can you come up with a sentence with amar in the preterite tense? I'll tell you mine. Amé la película de ayer. I loved yesterday's movie. I really did. But let's continue with the preterite conjugations. ER and IR conjugation in the preterite tense. As I told you, the verb comer, or to eat, and, for example, vivir, to live, conjugate the same way in the preterite tense. These are the endings. Y, iste, yo, imos, hieron, hieron. Can you try it with the verb comer? Yes, you're right. Yo comí. Tú comiste. Él, ella comió. Nosotros comimos. Ustedes comieron. Ellos, ellas comieron. Splendid. And now, can you do it with the verb vivir? Yo viví. Tú viviste. Él, ella, usted vivió. Nosotros vivimos. Ustedes vivieron. Ellos, ellas vivieron. Now that we have the preterite endings covered, let's see the imperfect ones. Spanish regular verbs conjugation in the imperfect tense. Also here, we only have 2 conjugations. Yay! Are you falling in love with the Spanish past tenses yet? AR conjugation in the imperfect tense. Let's look again at the verb amar, but now in the imperfect tense. Yo amaba. Tú amabas. Él, ella, usted amaba. Nosotros amábamos. Ustedes amaban. Ellos, ellas amaban. Yes, the endings are aba, abas, aba, ábamos, aban, aban. And the ER and IR conjugations. Let's check them out now. ER and IR conjugations in the imperfect tense. Yo comía. Tú comías. Él, ella, usted comía. Nosotros comíamos. Ustedes comían. Ellos, ellas comían. The endings are ia, ias, ia, íamos, ian, ian. Remember, they work for both ER and IR conjugations. So try to conjugate with me the verb vivir in the imperfect tense. Yo vivía. Tú vivías. Él, ella, usted vivía. Nosotros vivíamos. Ustedes vivían. Ellos, ellas vivían. En el 2010 vivía en México. Amaba los tacos y los comía todos los días. Did you understand it? In 2010, I was living in Mexico. I loved tacos and I ate them every day. These are regular conjugations in the preterite tense. Okay, now let's go deeper into how to use preterite versus imperfect. Remember that we use the preterite to talk about short, finite actions and events in the past, and the imperfect for actions without a definitive ending. But before we jump into that, did you know that you can get a free Spanish class with a professional native Spanish-speaking teacher? Just go to www.spanish.academy/free-class or click here. No hidden costs. Nobody will even ask for your credit card. You'll soon discover that here at Homeschool Spanish Academy, we love Spanish and we love pampering you with free stuff. So now you're just a click away from your first gift. Now, where were we? Oh yes, how to use the preterite versus imperfect. Look at these two sentences. Conocí mucha gente en la boda de Juan. I met many people at Juan's wedding. En aquella época, conocía mucha gente. At that time, I knew a lot of people. The first sentence, in the preterite tense, describes what you did. You met many people. The second one, in the imperfect tense, describes a time period, a general situation. However, it may not always be that obvious for you at the beginning, so let me help. I'll tell you a secret. There are some words and phrases that always trigger either preterite or imperfect tenses. Let's start with the preterite. Let me show you some phrases. If you hear someone saying them, the preterite tense is bound to follow. Words and phrases that trigger the preterite. Ayer, yesterday. Ayer comí un delicioso pastel de chocolate. Yesterday, I ate a delicious chocolate cake. Anteayer. The day before yesterday. Anteayer jugué cartas con mi mejor amiga. The day before yesterday, I played cards with my best friend. Anoche, last night. Anoche no dormí muy bien. I didn't sleep very well last night. El otro día, the other day. El otro día, pasé la tarde con una persona muy famosa. The other day, I spent the afternoon with a very famous person. El mes pasado. Last month. El mes pasado gané el doble de dinero. Last month, I made double the money. The same works for el lunes pasado, last Monday, el año pasado, last year, or la semana pasada, last week. Hace tiempo, time ago. Hace 5 años me mudé a una casa nueva. 5 years ago, I moved to a new house. In mes o año. In a month or a year. En 2020, me compré un coche. In 2020, I bought a car. Una vez. Once. One time. Una vez. Conocí a Leo Messi. One time, I met Leo Messi. So, these are some of the phrases that trigger the preterite tense. But what's even better, there are some verbs that will almost always go in preterite tense. Casarse, to marry. Me casé en 2012. I got married in 2012. Graduarse, to graduate. Me gradué en enero. I graduated in January. Cumplir años, to have a birthday. Mi mamá cumplió 50 años en septiembre. My mom turned 50 in September. Other verbs that also love the preterite tense are llegar, to arrive. Darse cuenta de, to realize. Nacer, to be born. Morir, to die. Nacer, to be born. Descubrir, to discover. Salir, to leave. You can try yourself to make a sentence in a preterite tense with one of these words. If you want to read more on this topic, check out this article. Now, let's have a look at phrases that trigger the imperfect. Yes, they also exist and will make your life so much easier. Do you remember when to use the imperfect? Past actions without a specific ending. Past habits. Incomplete past actions. General time in the past. Here are some words and phrases that go with the imperfect tense when used to talk about the past. Words and phrases that trigger the imperfect tense. Algunas veces. At times. Algunas veces jugábamos con los vecinos de al lado. Sometimes we played with the neighbors next door. Todo el tiempo. All the time. Todo el tiempo me preocupaba por lo que iba a pasar. All the time I was worrying about what was going to happen. Casi nunca. Almost never. Casi nunca bebía refrescos cuando era niña. I hardly ever drank soda as a child. Mientras, while. Mientras bebía mi café, escuchaba la música. While drinking my coffee, I listened to the music. En aquella época, at that time. En aquella época, la gente se vestía diferente. In those days, people dressed differently. These are more phrases that also trigger the imperfect tense in Spanish and can come in handy. Can you make sentences with them? Generalmente, generally. Todos los años, every year. Cada día, every day. De vez en cuando, once in a while. Por un rato, for a while. You already learned how to conjugate verbs in both preterite and the imperfect. And you also know when to use them and what phrases and words go with each one of them. Now, let's check what happens when these two tenses meet together. Preterite versus imperfect. We often use them to talk about one action interrupted by another. The long action will be expressed in the imperfect tense, and the short one in the preterite tense. If you translate the sentence in English, the long action will go in past continuous, and the short one in past simple. Estudiaba español en mi casa cuando de repente llamaron a la puerta. I was studying Spanish at home when suddenly somebody knocked on the door. Estudiaba, long, interrupted action. The imperfect. Llamaron, short, interrupting action. The preterite. If you feel like knowing more about the preterite versus imperfect, read this interesting article with online exercises. Congratulations! You should be proud of yourself. You've just completed a lesson on preterite versus imperfect. By doing so, your range of conversation topics has developed significantly, and you'll feel more at ease speaking to other Spanish speakers. Keep working at this pace and you'll go far. If you want to get to know and master another Spanish tense, click here. Do you remember that here at Homeschool Spanish Academy, we love free stuff? Here's another gift for you. Our free ebook called Weird and Wacky Spanish Stories for Beginners. Totally free and so fun to read for both kids and adults. Click the link in the description below to download your own copy. And last but not least, don't forget to sign up for a free class with one of our certified native Spanish speaking teachers. Just go to www.spanish.academy/free-class. I can't wait for our next lesson. See you!